Watch this next story closely. Perhaps one of you can provide a new clue to an old mystery.
That's a mystery that began with the unexpected delivery of a curious package, followed by the disappearance of a man in the Grand Bay community.
Tonight, Darwin Singleton returns with another unsolved mystery we call Without a Trace.
Christmas time, 1998, and a happy time for Julie Pearson and her father, Stephen. Stephen Pearson's birthday was 2 days before Christmas, but it was Julie who would get the gifts that only a doting father can give.
He would treat me like a princess. I was his daughter. He was my daddy, but he was also my best friend. I could talk to him about anything without judgment. He was my daddy. Always will be.
But fast forward 3 years, and the picture would be very different. The 53-year-old Grand Bay resident would be reported missing after his car was discovered abandoned in some woods near his home. Julie found herself without a dad, her sons without a grandfather.
I can't tell my boys anything. Sorry he's not here. Sorry you don't have your grandfather. A boy needs a grandfather.
Julie would spend days frantically searching for her father, and to this day, no trace of Stephen Pearson has been found. The story leading up to the disappearance of Stephen Pearson is one filled with intrigue and suspicion. It begins with a package, a postal package, that was delivered to Stephen. It wasn't meant for him, but it was a package that investigators believe triggered a series of events that very well could have cost Stephen Pearson his life.
It was just a really strange occurrence of errors.
Captain Paul Birch with the Mobile Sheriff's Office led the investigation into Stephen Pearson's disappearance and found out, not long after he was reported missing, 2 women came to the Grand Bay Post Office looking for a package that never came. After checking records, they discovered the package was delivered to the home of James Bowman Jr. and James Bowman III, who lived next door to Stephen Pearson. But they weren't at home at the time.
So he goes, "Oh, those are my neighbors. I know them. I'll sign for it and I'll go put it on their back porch. They're out of town. They'll be back the day after Christmas."
What neither Pearson nor the Bowmans knew was that inside that package was about 10 pounds of marijuana. The Bowmans returned home, and when they opened the package,
James Bowman called one of his friends, and they began to sell the marijuana and make some money.
But when Stephen Pearson learned of the package's contents, his reaction was very different.
And he just instantly realized, I signed for that. So he went straight from there to the post office in Grand Bay to speak with the postmaster.
Soon after, Stephen Pearson was nowhere to be found. Daughter Julie called the sheriff's office and the search began. It wouldn't be long before a neighbor would find Stephen Pearson's station wagon abandoned in some woods nearby. But Birch says from the whole get-go, that whole thing looked suspicious.
It was very clear that it had been staged. Things were placed where we would know who the vehicle belonged to. There were some items out there made to look like someone may have been camping close, It didn't make sense.
And something else didn't make sense. There were no fingerprints inside the truck. Not even prints of Pearson himself.
No blood, no body, no anything. It was as if he just disappeared.
Meanwhile, James Bowman Jr. and James Bowman III were charged with trafficking in marijuana, but eventually pleaded guilty to a lesser charge. As for Stephen Pearson,
I think Stephen was killed and taken out into the woods somewhere and buried.
But by whom? At the time, Birch and fellow investigators felt strongly that the Bowmans might be able to shed some light on their neighbor's disappearance.
We executed several search warrants there. We've pulled them back in on occasion, so certainly that community knows that that's who we believe is involved in the disappearance of Stephen Pearson.
So what do the Bowmans have to say about all this? While visiting Stephen Pearson's old homestead, I had an accidental encounter with the elder James Bowman, who was on a piece of heavy equipment working on the dirt road leading to the property. Bowman admitted to me that, yes, he had been considered a suspect, but that he didn't do it. I asked Bowman if he would speak on camera with me when we passed back through later in the afternoon, and he indicated he would. But when we stopped to talk again, he drove away. Captain Birch hopes retelling the story more than 15 years later might jog someone's memory or conscience.
This case has always bothered me because it's the only unsolved case that I personally have.
And it bothers someone else. Stephen Pearson's daughter, Julie, especially at Christmas.
Every year, when it should be joyous, when your boys are looking at you on Christmas morning, and there's the empty stocking still hanging, and until I have an answer, I'll keep looking, I'll keep finding, I'll keep wondering until the day I die.
In Grand Bay, I'm Darwin Singleton, NBC 15 News.
Now, if you have any information about tonight's unsolved mystery, call the Mobile County Sheriff's Office.
That number is on your screen. It's 251-574-8633, or you can leave a message on Team Sheriff's Facebook page.